Well, can we really have it all? It's a question that generations have asked, especially women, and many have strived for, but it certainly isn't easy to balance career, family, friends, and still manage to find some time for fun. So a Wharton School of Business professor explores the concept and the reality of it in her brand new book, Having It All, What Data Tells Us About Women's Lives and Getting the Most Out of Yours. So Dr. Corrine Low is joining us now to talk about this new book. Dr. Corrine, congratulations on having this book come out in just a couple of weeks. And I mean, how exciting is it to finally have it see print?
Yeah, so exciting. It's actually out on Tuesday, and you know, it's been like 3 years in the making and really 15 years of me doing this research and even living some of the stories in the book.
Absolutely. You start the book with your own personal experience of having a life that you were struggling to manage and find real joy in. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and how it sort of prompted you to ultimately write this book?
Yeah, I start the book by saying in 2017 I gave birth to my son, but also a midlife crisis, because a lot of the things that I thought were going to be true in my life, that I thought if I worked hard enough I could have equality with men in my career, or I could have equality with my husband at home, they weren't true in reality. And when I started looking at the data, I realized that this wasn't just me. The problems that we were facing were structural, and that's what inspired me to want to share the solutions then that were also coming out of the research that I was doing with more people.
So what does the data show in terms of why it's so difficult right now for women to quote unquote have it all, and what they can do to hopefully make their lives a little bit more manageable and more enjoyable too?
So once I tell people the stats, it always helps them just feel that sense of relief, because what has happened is gender roles have converged in the workplace, but they haven't converged at home. So women are stepping up, our careers are ever more demanding at work, but at home, men actually do the same amount of housework that they did in the 1970s. And then meanwhile, there was this explosion of parenting time starting in the 1990s. Moms today spend twice as much time with our kids as moms a generation ago. So it's not in our heads. It just doesn't add up. But what I help people to figure out in the book is that there's actually ways that we can create win-win solutions where we can get our needs met and everybody else can get what they need to.
So how the heck do they do that? At home and in the workplace as well?
Yeah, exactly. So starting at home, the biggest cure for my mom guilt was seeing the relationship with my son blossom when I was getting my needs met. And what I realized was that explosion in parenting time, we have to figure out the time that's actually giving us a payoff and the time that's really driven more by guilt or social expectations. Your kid would so much rather have you be able to be calm and present and listen to their story for the 100th time than go to a million activities in 6 different directions or have those hand-decorated birthday cupcakes or whatever it is that's making you crazy. And then when it comes to your spouse, us doing everything ourselves is a bad deal, but your spouse doesn't want to be a low-level junior employee at home either. So it's time to promote him to co-CEO of the household so that you can really share the work that needs to be done, and women can throw out some of that mental load.
How did your own life change when you looked at the data and started sort of coming up with this other framework for how women can better their lives?
Yeah, I think I felt empowered to make choices by knowing, again, it wasn't in my head that we were actually getting squeezed from all sides. And that made me say, okay, I'm going to have to say no to some things. I'm going to have to simplify things. I call it like Marie Kondoing your time. And so at work, that means figuring out where am I actually getting a payoff? Where am I actually getting a return to my effort and focusing my time there? The data shows women don't need flexibility. We need boundaries. And the good news is we can set those for ourselves. So it means I'm going to say no to the office housework and the extras during this period in my life where I'm so squeezed. I'm going to focus on what drives value. And I actually blocked off the time that was most important for me at home. So for me, that was dinner time. And I would literally block off on my calendar and then log back on after my kids were asleep.
Dr. Corrine Low, thank you so much for your time this morning. The book, Having It All, comes out September 23rd. We'll see you right after the break.